Raj, so, this is a very interesting story. But you know what everybody wants to know?
Yeah.
Who was Raj before he joined Red FM? What was his, upbringing? What was his family like? And of course, how did Red FM happen? That also.
Oh, the long story. I'll cut the long story short. Okay.
Yeah.
If you look at me, I mean, I have had multiple. I have a lot of alter egos. Okay. So I've donned a few roles. So my radio career in itself has got multiple layers to it. But before radio, like I was a rolling stone. I did my engineering from BMS College. So after that, I wanted to be a software engineer like everybody else in Bangalore, take a job in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
All of these things. That was a trajectory that was already set when I joined engineering. So it's a set process. Anybody joins engineering, okay, after this, you take your GRE and then you go to America, then you study there and then you take a job, then you come back and get married to somebody, then again you go back, settle there. Yeah. So this is something like a set format it was. So I was somehow into that format, but that didn't work for me. It didn't happen to me. So radio happened to me. The way radio happened also was very funny. So it was on the day of Rang De Basanti. It had just released for Republic Day. It had already caught the attention of the nation. And I was working out in my gym. And we had totally no work to do on weekends. So I said like, okay, let's go watch this movie. I believe it's like amazing. A.R. Rahman's music and all that. I said like, okay, but then where do we book the tickets? Then we tried booking the tickets. Those days, Red Cinema on Brigade Road. Okay? We booked a ticket. We tried to go for the morning show, but we got the ticket only for the evening show. So we landed only around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock show there. So we watched the movie. And before the movie, we had a lot of time. And Times of India's ad for calling for Radio Mirchi's audition was there that day. So I said like, it went on asking me, are you witty? Are you smart? Are you, good at this? Are you good at that? All of this. Like, and then at the end it said, do you have it in you? Everything else I said, yes. But do you have it in you? Like, I don't know. What should I have it in me? I said like, okay, let's just give it a try.
Yeah.
So 5 of us were there. We went for the movie. I asked all of them, why don't you come? Let's go give the audition for some Radio Mirchi radio station is coming. My friends were like a little not so confident, but then I was very excited. Let's go. I'd heard Mirchi when I'd gone to Ahmedabad. So I said like, okay, what is this Radio Mirchi? A radio station can be called Mirchi.
Mirchi, yeah.
I didn't know about that. And then I was quite attracted to the way how the name sounded. So when it opened here, but they were looking for people who can speak Kannada. Okay. So I was like, wow, Kannada is like my, forte. So I should give it a try. So I went there, and also English I was equally good. So I said like, great man, I'm good at both. So I think I should be able to make it as what I thought. I went there. And I wasn't known for my good looks anyway. So I was like, I went there and I saw like 1,000 people, all of them really good looking, very well groomed and prepped. And they were all queued up outside the audition venue. And I was like, damn, man. And, those were the days, the trend was like, if there's something that's happening with MTV or roadies, long queue. And I was so psyched looking at all of these things like, oh, again, another reality show audition kind of a thing. Okay, let's give it a try. Anyways, I went. I wanted to audition at around 11 o'clock. But by the time I finished my audition, the first audition, it was around 4 o'clock or 4:30.
Acha.
So gave the audition. All that they said was, we'll get back to you. And I said, like when anybody says get back to you, that's the end of it. Yeah. So I said, okay, guys, that's it. And I came out. My friends were waiting for me. They didn't come in. So I went confidently. There was a mic like this. I went in front of the mic. Although I'm like all the time like a motor mouth going on speaking, and they turned on the mic and say, are you ready? I'm like that. Words didn't come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I said like, okay, I'm lost. And then when they said, okay, we'll let you know, I said, okay, I got to know my result. I'm not in. Okay, see you. Bye. Let's go for the movie.
Is it?
6 o'clock, the movie, Rang De Basanti, we went there. If you remember in this movie, at the end of it, there's a radio scene.
Yeah.
So all my friends were like towards the end, like, oh, damn, man, if at all you get this job, now this is how we're going to come and ruin your life. I said, like, no way it's going to happen. I'm not going to get into radio. You cannot dream of a scene like this, is what I said. So we were watching this, it was so coincidental. Like, I had just given a radio interview and I come and see in this, that entire radio part is like a very important part of this movie at the end. So I was like, wow. is the radio station like going to be like this? Oh, is it going to be like this? You can speak your mind out on radio. All these dreams were there in my mind at that time. We watched the movie. It was a great movie. Enjoyed it. And I was going back. I was on my RX 100. So somebody had called me, but I couldn't pick the call. Those days I used to have a prepaid SIM. So not a postpaid. So I didn't have currency to call back. And then I said like somebody had called and I didn't dare to call back. Then I went back home. Next day morning, I recharged my phone and I called them because it was an STD number and I didn't have outgoing STD at that time.
My God, these are 90s things, you know.
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah.
2006, okay. So I went and recharged my phone and I called from a PCO.
Right.
You know, those days still STD
PCOs
booths and all
existed.
still existed.
Yeah.
So I called and I got to know it was from Jimmy it was some non-Karnataka number. And then like, you remember you had come for an audition yesterday? Like, yeah. And like, you're through. I'm like, yeah! And I was like, no, you're through to the next round.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, next round. That's all. Okay. Okay. So what do I do, man? Like, you just have to come down to the same venue and we have a couple of more rounds and you have to clear them. Like, okay, I'm coming. So I was already working in an IT company. I had 2 assistants. So I stylishly went to my assistant and was like, hey, today I'm not going to be coming to work. And I was smartly dressed today.
Yeah.
Because I knew the previous day I was not so smartly dressed.
Yeah.
And there were like some 1,000 people. So I wanted to look good. So I was smartly dressed and both the girls were like checking me out. Like, what's wrong with the boss today? He's not in formals and he's in some yo-yo kind of a dress. Something is going for a date, I think. So I said, like, I'm not going to tell you where I'm going and all, but don't spy on me. I'm going to be back tomorrow and wish me all the luck and all, I said. So they didn't know what I was going in for. They said, like, don't worry, sir, that girl will like you. And I'm like, I like, okay, I'll let you know. Those were the days. Hi-Fi.
Yeah.
None of the social media was popular. Hi-Fi was very popular. Okay. So like I gave them a hi-fi and I said like, okay, I'm going to, and boss is going on a date today. I think somebody's followed. Let's go check hi-fi. Okay, they were going and trying to track me on that. Then I went for the interview. So day 2 was like that shortlisted a few people only from the 1,000 people. Okay. So I think there were some 30-40 people who were shortlisted. I went there and then as soon as I went there, like I've been shortlisted for the RJ's post, so what to do next? They said like, we have 5 more rounds. I like 5 more rounds?
Yeah.
What do you want me to speak? I had no clue. They had one reading round, one listening round, and then one situation round where I had to interact. So couple, and then the HR round, couple of things were there. And I had no clue about it. I'd never given a radio jockey's interview ever. So I had no clue what the rounds were. But then they told me, they gave me a script and they said like, okay, you have to just read this out, assuming that, you are a radio station, you're working in a radio station. So just be prepared and come and be natural is what they said. So all that rounds after that, and then I had made some friends over there at that time. Right. So even in today's date, Shruti and I started around the same time.
Right.
And one more guy, Sachit, now is with Times and all. So we all started our career there at that point. So I made friends with them and then like, okay, what's going to happen? What question they'll ask? So these kind of talks were there around. So first round got over, second round got over. Second round, they basically wanted me to talk to somebody. That's about it. So it was a cool game. So I went ahead and did that too.
So then finally you cracked it. The girl liked you. And now you got married to her.
Everybody liked.
You quit because of the whole idea, no? You quit radio.
So I didn't quit. So I was dilly-dallying. So I had one leg there, one leg here. Then I got to know that you can't travel in boots. So I said, okay, let me hop on to one. So I said, anyway, radio I've done for 13 years. Okay, so it's going to be there. When I come back also, they will take me.
Okay.
I said like, okay, let me spend. So the entrepreneur bug was already there. That was the time 5 years ago. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. And everybody wants to be in some food business.
Yeah.
It's like a cool thing to be. I have a food truck. I have a cafe. So kind of a thing. I said like, okay, I already have one cafe. I'll call it as a very fancy name. So I'm very... I'm excellent at pink cow marketing. So when I said like, my juice shop can't be any Ayara juice shop now. We'll make it really fancy. So if you look at my poster also, the name of the shop is like so big, this big font I've put. Eat Raja, eat in English, Raja in Kannada. Okay? People, my mom was like, what is this? Why have you put such a big font? Like you stretched to all the borders and all. Like, no. First thing is like people should capture the name first. What we sell is secondary, but the brand should be created.
Yeah, that's right.
My mom had no clue. Like, do whatever you want. And then she was laughing because I had used, two languages. So eat was in English and Raja was in Kannada. Like, what is this? You could have put just one language, right? What is this? And what is this funny name called Eat Raja and all? Doesn't sound nice. Down market and all. Like many people thought it's like some bar, some Raja bar or something like that. Okay. But then I had really planned very well that this is the brand name, this is how it's going to be, and this is how people should remember even like 5 years. 5 years is now.
Yeah.
So I had already planned some 10 years later also. Only two things they should remember: Eat Raja, 2 words. So that's why all of my juices also have only two words. It's easy for people to recall also.
Yeah.
So if it's a really long name, people won't remember.
True. That's absolutely right.
Some of the, although I've not done MBA, so I said these are some of the ideas that are really working great. So I said first thing that people should get is Eat Raja name. Then they should spend a lot of time like, why is this Eat in English and Raja in Kannada? Why is such a big font and all those things? I was telling my mom, even if people don't come to a shop, from 1 kilometer they should be able to see my brand. And they should say, oh, that is Eat Raja.
Yeah. That's right.
And that's how it started. And the guy who printed the board, right, he was like laughing. What is this? It's such big font, nobody puts on. I said, like, you just put, it's my shop, my money, you just put the print.
Yeah.
Such big font. Stretched it till almost the borders, okay? But it's still there. That's one of the nicest things. Whenever people pass by, even from Malaysian market, they're able to see, oh, Eat Raja is there. So I feel very happy. What I thought 5 years ago, it's working.
Yeah.
So that is why I feel when you're an entrepreneur, right? So in Hindi they say, "Sabki suno, apni karo." I did the same thing. Everybody say like, "Oh, such a big font, no, small." Okay, done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody has their own opinion. They will come and contribute.
See, that is where I feel that if you are not confident about what you are planning to, see, only you will have in your mind as to what do you want your product to be. So in my mind, I was very clear. Okay, I want only two things to be very sure that people should register as Eat Raja, brand name. Everything else later. And then I said like, okay, these two has to be the biggest font. And I put it up in the most biggest font there, and it's worked. So anybody wants to do something first about brand, your brand has to be registered.
Right.
I looked at many brands also, right? People remember the brand very well, then everything. So the brand registration has to happen. Recall.
Yeah.
So recall has to, and since I come from a radio background, every time there was a focus on how people remember a particular thing. Okay, so all these ideas, and as I was getting groomed in my work, all these things actually became my formative things. So I said like, okay, when I launch a brand, this is how it's going to be. So when I worked in Mirchi, there's something called as a teaser phase. So even before something
would be launched,
they do something called as a teaser. Like they let people know little bit, telling that okay, this is what is going to come. Like how any movie trailer comes. Okay. So I used to do the same. Much before, March 27th actually my shop opened, but 10-15 days before that only I put up the board, Eat Raja. People are coming and seeing, what is Eat Raja, what is it? It was shut. What is coming up here, what is coming up here?
Yeah.
So people were curious about it. So that curiosity had already created. But when it opened, people were like, okay, what is it? Some juice? What is so different about it? I didn't do anything that's got to do with what we are doing right now, serving the fruits for almost a year. But it was zero waste. I said, I'm not going to give you anything in single-use disposable. That's the format that we followed.
Correct.
But for almost a year when we did that, we didn't have any customers. That's when I quit my radio. 2018, I came back. 2019, I came back to my shop. I told my mom, I'm going to take care of the shop. And that's when the innovation started. The first thing that I did was watermelon.
No, I wanted to ask you, when you quit radio, or when you started radio to quit radio, how was that journey?
See, there was never like
how much you miss it?
Quit radio and did something. So I was already working in radio. At the same time, there was a smooth transition also, I would like to say, because for almost about a year, I was controlling Eat Raja and also working at the radio station. And then when I quit radio, I only said I'm going to take a sabbatical. Because it's been like 13 years I've been working.
Yeah.
So let me focus on this startup first. And then of course I can always come back. So that was the mindset in which I had taken a temporary break from radio.
So it's not a temporary break anymore.
So at that time, now it's like a permanent break. Now nobody calls me on radio. Now radios have shut down everything.
So radios are definitely working, but
they are working. But those days, social media was not that big yet.
True.
Okay, so now social media
it's
is
only a recent
really
phenomenon.
big. There's so many things are on social media.
Yeah.
Social media has really become bigger. So those days, it was still not that big. So now, even if I would go back, I may just go back for the fun part of it. But I feel that radio has had its time. So now social media apps, even radio guys are coming on social media. They have launched apps. They're doing a lot. I mean, social media is going to be the future for the next few years at least, unless something else comes.
No, that's right. So when I talk about radio, right, what I thoroughly recall is Raj and Nishant.
Yeah.
Khan Masti, Meter Down, all of those things.
Khan.
So tell us about your friendship with Nishant and me.
Nishant and I are the worst people on radio, especially when it comes to us. If anybody thinks that we are great friends, no, we weren't.
Okay.
But on the show, we sounded as if like we are just made for each other. Okay.
Okay.
But otherwise, only me, our boss, and a few people at the Red FM know how much we hated each other.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is what the story and the interesting part of anything is like.
Yeah, yeah.
For example, you may have thought like, okay, this couple is looking so good on in the movie. They must be like very good friends.
Yeah.
They might not even be good friends.
Mm-hmm.
So Nishant and I, although we were from the same college, we are from different batches. So when we were put on the show, we were like not really comfortable with each other. We complimented each other because what he knew, I did not know. What I knew, what was he did not know. So that was the best part of it. So that's why our programming team thought, okay, let's put both of them together so that the best is served to Bangalore.
Wow.
So. And we were both masti types, okay? That is why the show was also called Kaan Masti, and it was all about
Hearing,
right?
yeah.
And we also used to do a lot of contests which is got to do with your ear.
Yeah.
So, and it was a Hindi radio station, so we went to Kaan Masti. Kaan Masti.
I remember
On the
that,
flip side, I'll tell, around the same days, Grand Masti had movie released, okay?
Yeah.
So Grand Masti also had something very kind of over the edge kind of adult comedy and kind of a thing. So we were little like, okay, we were not namaste, very good evening. Not those kind of radio jockeys. So we knew what we were, our space was. We were a little naughty, we were a little flirtatious. All of these things were there. So that persona had to come on air too. So you can't call it like, lovely evening show or good evening Bangalore. Those are like for people who are like sorted and were like don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
So we were like over the edge and all, right? We were like two monkeys. So it had to have a...
So you're still in touch with him?
Yeah, now we are the best of the friends.
Okay.
Interesting part comes here, okay? And behind all my costume runs, that's his brain.
Okay.
So during those radio days, we used to fight a lot, okay? We used to fight a lot because we never used to...
Any particular reason? Probably a girl?
We never used to agree to any particular thing because, like I said, right, we complement each other.
Okay.
So what he likes, I don't like. What I like, he doesn't like.
Okay.
What he thinks is right, I think it's absolute nonsense.
Okay.
So we used to have a lot of fight even in the radio station, okay? And we never agreed on terms. And 10 seconds before we have to go on air, we switch on the mic, we become immediate good friends. It was a crazy time on radio. I'll tell you more about that.